Hi everybody and welcome back to my War Games hobby channel. Alec here. As you know, I've been working on the final unit of my Byzantine project. Here they are. The last unit is finally finished. You can see that I've done them quite a bright colour. I'll explain why in a minute. But I've dirtied them up. You can see slightly here. I wanted to make them look as like they've been on campaign. And I'm really pleased with the way they've turned out. Now, there's a couple of things. The first thing is I'm not sure about the way I've done the lances. I've done them in coloured. I think a lot of people are depicting them coloured lances now, and I think there is an argument that some units did use sort of colours like that, and they look nice anyway, so I decided I'd go with it. The colouring of the laminate armour is debatable. Of course, no one really knows for sure what colours were used. I decided I would keep them nice and bright because I believe in that period, from the areas they recruited, the cavalry were quite brightly coloured. Now I've gone for sort of a pinky colour, and you may wonder why. Well, there's a bit of a story behind that. A very good friend of mine, sadly no longer with us, Mick Fuller, died a few years ago now, and we had a sort of a bit of a running joke. He liked to see pink on units, and I always, for some years now, whenever I've painted a new army, I've always done a unit with some sort of pink. A lighter pink than currently this one has, but I didn't want them too bright anyway. And in memory of Mick, I've just decided to keep that going. I do try and add a unit with some sort of pink facings or pink armour, and I like them. I think they've turned out really, really well. There we go, Mick. So there's my latest unit. If you were here, mate, you would love them. Now, one of the things I mentioned to you before was that painting underneath here, I don't know whether you can see very clearly, was a bit of a pain. When I did one, I mounted him first, so that wasn't a very good idea. So what I decided to do was the sprues I come like this. Here we are. This is a sprue. This is another unit that I will do one day. I'm not in any hurry for them, because I must admit that for the rules that I use, I'd probably only ever use one unit of Byzantine extra heavy cavalry or cataphracts. But I will do the others eventually, but there's no hurry. But these ones here, what I decided to do was to, rather than paint them all on the sprue like that, which I find a little bit awkward myself, I keep forgetting to do the reverse side on certain things, because there's the figures as well here, with which need gluing together. Now I spray them white. So what I do is I do the inside of the horse barding in the colour I want to do them, and then I do also the underside of the horse and the legs. And once I've done that, I then take them off to sprue and glue them together, because I find they're easier to paint once they're on the bases. And really that's the only problem I have is when they're on the bases, are doing these under bits here. So once I've completed that and they've dried, then I, let's say, glue them together, put them on the bases, and then paint the rest of the horse, obviously matching up the colours I've already got, the horse colour and the horse barding. So that worked quite well with these next 6, and I highly recommend you do it that way. The other thing is gluing them to the bases, which can be difficult. Although you can't see here, here's a picture of what I did. Was I got some green stuff, and I haven't used that much in the past, because normally I would super glue them to the base, and then I'd add a bit of Bostik as well for a bit of extra strength, and then I would put the basing itself around sort of the hooves to keep them on there. But I still found it wasn't ideal. So the next experiment was to use green stuff, which I bought some, and as you can see here, you put quite a bit on the hoof, and then you press it onto the base, and then, you know, when you put the terrain covering on the base, I use there we are, this stuff here. Okay. And when you put that on the base, it really makes a nice solid fit. So I highly recommend you use that method. The super glue method does work as well, but I find that if you don't keep it absolutely straight up, you have to sort of put something either side of the horse to make sure it's straight up, because if you try and bend it, it just snaps off again. So it's not ideal. The green stuff is actually more flexible, although I still make sure that I actually do, when I'm putting the figure on the base, when it's glued, I normally put something either side, make sure that it's up straight, and just to make sure that the two bottles, or whatever you want to put either side, make sure the horse then stays up straight. And I leave that for overnight or even for a whole day to make sure that it's a nice solid fit, because green stuff does take a little while to set. So that's the other thing I found. And say this unit, I've now used both those methods, and I'm really pleased with the end result. So there we go, guys. That's it. That's my Byzantine army now finished. As I mentioned, I have got another unit that I will do at some point in the future, but because there weren't that many cataphracts in the sort of period that I'm doing, sort of 11th century, I doubt I would ever use more than one. But I'll have the second one there just in case I ever do. Or in fact, I use a set of rules where I need more figures anyway, because I've only got 6. That might not be enough. It's okay for Saga, because if I used them as Hearthguarded Saga, you only need 4 anyway, unless I had 2 units. I would need 8 then, but that would be extremely unlikely. And the other thing is for Lion Rampant that I use quite a bit. They come in units of 6, but I just don't feel at the moment that they're urgent, because I'd normally only field 1 unit, I would think, within a 24-point army. I don't think I would use more than 1 unit. But they'll get done eventually. And I'll do them a different colour. I won't do them pink this time. Right, that's it, guys. Just a quick update. Keep well, and I'll see you again soon.